This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance, sitting in the midst of the district of U.S. Congressman Alan Lowenthal, Signal Hill, Long Beach area today. Glad to be with you, sir.
Welcome to the 47th Congressional District.
And I want to talk about the 47th in light of the fact that we are in the midst of a heated presidential election.
Yes.
You are on summer recess right now, presumably. You are out and about with your constituents, both on the L.A. County side of your district and the Orange County side. I want to hear what they're saying to you. What's on their minds?
Well, different communities, different parts of the district are talking about different things. And actually, when this will be shown, I'm going to have a big community forum tonight. So I'm not quite sure what they're going to be saying, and that's in East Long Beach. But, you know, I had a huge, even though it's a presidential election, and you would think that all the talk is about the presidential election, much of the Cambodian community in Long Beach, in Cambodia Town, and others are very much appreciative that the Congress is beginning to focus its attention by having a Cambodian caucus on Cambodia and hopefully calling for fair elections. People want a closer relationship between that. And that's the same thing that I constantly hear when I'm in the Vietnamese community, also in Little Saigon in Orange County, that the Vietnamese government needs to stop oppressing any kind of dissent, and they need to allow people. They would allow people to have much more of the freedoms and more human rights. And the other thing is that as they want closer relationship with the United States economically, they need to demonstrate some things. They need to kind of end the war and begin to have a rapprochement with the people.
Along those lines, I must ask, are members of these communities concerned about the heated rhetoric surrounding both immigration as well as trade? Because a rapprochement would result in opening up trade deals, but there's a lot of anger about trade.
Well, the Vietnamese community, Vietnamese American community, because Vietnam was part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, it's one of the 13 countries, that they are very concerned that, although wanting trade, but that we should that they are not convinced that Vietnam is going to change any of their oppressive policies, and actually will use this as an opportunity to gain more centralized control over the people.
But along those lines, it appears to me that rhetoric surrounding trade has become so incendiary that even if Hillary Clinton should be successful, the ability to get trade deals passed through the Congress could be very challenging. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, I think you are reading that very, very much correctly. I think that any future trade deal, especially if Hillary Clinton is the president, which I certainly hope that she is the president, any future trade deal will have to have more engagement of American workers, labor, as actually participating and understanding what some of those impacts are and how they can benefit by these trade deals, by much more of the environmental community. Right now, it's been our trade offices and the large business communities that have shaped these rules. And that has left people feeling that they don't have any ownership in it.
What's so remarkable about the recent rhetoric on trade, I mean, for decades, sir, you know this better than I, Democrats have been wary about trade, Republicans have been cheerleaders for trade. And now somehow it seems like it's flipped.
No, it's not flipped.
Well, at least as it relates to the Republican nominee.
That's true.
And so he is driving a conversation that has made it difficult to have substantive discussions surrounding trade, at least as I see it. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think that we are part of a global economy.
And I think about the Long Beach port. I mean, critical to your
we benefit
district.
by it. Having standards is really important for us, to know what the rules are, to help our businesses both compete, but also with foreign investments, but also make sure that we don't lose businesses.
But it's hard to know.
That can be done.
See, here's what's hard. Here I am, a journalist. I try to be up on facts.
Right.
You know, you can have your own opinions, but you can't have your own facts.
Right.
It's hard for me to determine the facts surrounding trade and whether trade is of net benefit or of net detriment to our nation. Because it seems as if facts are being thrown at us from so many different angles that I don't even know what to believe anymore as it relates to trade.
I think that what has happened as we've become part of this global economy and much more dependent upon our relationships and businesses which are multinational, that there were unintended consequences that and there were intended consequences. There were benefits, you're right, but there were also tremendous deficits. Money was moved, jobs were moved, profits were not paid because people, even though the sales occurred here. There are a lot of things that got ahead of us. And I think a rational discussion about this with the understanding that we want to both be part of this global economy, but we want to protect American workers. And we want to promote well-being, and we want to help with retraining programs when they're going to be done. We have lived for so long now as a crisis-oriented society, dealing with crises. What you're asking me is, Alan, can you step back and can we do a little bit of long-range planning? Can we figure out?
Is that fair?
It's a very fair question. It makes it's striking because we have, in dealing with our economic crises, and don't let me minimize them, they have been tremendous and difficulty over the last 15 or 20 years. Many times when we're in a crisis or when we're short, we cut out the things that we need the most sometimes because they don't have the immediate impact. So I'll give you an example.
Please.
Right now we're very much worried about Zika virus, as we should. Zika will be more and more in the United States. We're also going to see that there are other things behind Zika in terms of mosquitoes and other things that are going to become more prevalent, especially with global warming. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we basically got rid of mosquito control and vector control in the United States.
Because we needed it?
We thought we've destroyed
Malaria
it all.
is dead.
It's all gone.
On the continent.
So we have not put into place an infrastructure that's going to help us. We have nothing in place now to really deal. We're putting a Band-Aid on
And as it relates to Zika, it seems to me even that issue has been politicized.
But I think what we're really seeing is that the nation has to come to grips with, whether it's infrastructure, with longer range goals than they have now. We cannot just operate on a simple year to year or mentality. We'll deal with this crisis and that. Thank goodness we didn't fall off the cliff.
So let us presume that Hillary Clinton is successful, as
Yes.
the polls would suggest.
Yes.
We'll presume that the Senate becomes Democratic barely and the House stays Republican. Do you anticipate that long-range planning under that scenario?
Yes, I take a process view. I do not expect everything to change overnight as we do it. I think there are going to be some small victories and maybe some major victories along the way, but it's not going to be just a total major thing. I think what is going to happen is that we're going to try to tackle some problems, hopefully, if Hillary Clinton is here, that we have not addressed for a long, long time.
And you'll come back and we'll talk about those issues.
Yes.
His name is Alan Lowenthal, member of the United States Congress. My name is Brad Pomerance, coming to you from Long Beach. It's Charter Local Edition.